Welcome, Rambler fans, to another exciting edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Blake Keller.
And I'm Sophia Davila. Thank you for joining us. Blake, is it just me, or is it both our first time at the anchor desk?
I think you're right, Sophia. Since it's both our first time behind the desk, we should initiate a First Timers Club, and who better to be the first inductees than us two? You know what else is a first, Sophia? As you all may have heard, the Loyola men's basketball team is in their first postseason tournament in 30 years. And I must say, they're doing extremely well.
I would have to agree. The Ramblers are on fire.
Loyola had a busy week, having both played a quarterfinal and semifinal game in the CBI this week.
Loyola taking on Oral Roberts in the quarterfinal round. Sister Jean wishing the team a safe game. It ended up being a physical one. First half, Loyola got off to a hot start offensively. Dante Agram finds Milton Doyle, who splashes in the three. That would extend the lead to double digits. Devin Turk said, wait a minute, I'm the three-point specialist on this team. Nails one of his own. Loyola up 37-22. To the second half, Christian Thomas coming alive. Catches the pass from Joe Chrisman with one hand and wills in the tough layup. Minutes later, Thomas said, enough with layups, let me dunk this ball. Right here with authority. He finished with 15 points. Loyola led by double digits for much of the second half, but some brainless decisions led to the Ramblers fouling three-point shooters twice. Loyola survived the late scare, though, to hold on to the 86-78 victory. Earl Peterson had 19 points. Aaron Young finished with 26. Ramblers head coach Porter Moser's thoughts after the game.
I thought we did a really good job executing our stuff today. We got some good baskets off of what we run. I thought we did some really good things to get that lead. Really good things to get that lead off a very good team.
The win would send Loyola to the semifinals to take on Seattle University. Fans actually in the student section for this game. Devin Turk says, why score two when you can have three? Nails the triple from the corner. More from Turk in this game. To the second. Earl Peterson in transition with the lane, trying to ignite a struggling offense, failed to score much in the first half. But Emerson Murray in Seattle had Loyola's number early in the second. Scores the tough lay-in right here. Seattle had a lot larger front court, and that led to William Powell causing havoc in the paint. His pump fake caused Devin Turk to fly, and he lays it in easily. But I told you we had more from Turk in this game. Drains the three. He had 5 on the night, 15 points total. Peterson driving the lane, he gets another one of his buckets. He had 15 also. He and Milton Doyle contributed to a late push that ended Seattle's chance at a CBI championship appearance. Loyola wins big, 63-48. Turk and Peterson with 15, Powell with 12. Moser after the game.
I'm proud of our guys. It's just, I told them, it's just another sign of how much our culture is changing. Is that it was just grind out toughness plays that turned the tide.
Loyola's men's basketball team has made it to the championship series of the CBI. They will take on Louisiana Monroe this Monday. With all the extra games being played at home in Gentile Arena, the tournament has brought in a larger fan base to cheer on the team.
30 years. That's how long it's been since Loyola's men's basketball team has seen postseason action. Gentile Arena has filled up with more fans than usual this season, as attendance numbers have increased with every win and every made shot. The Ramblers are one of 16 teams picked to play in the College Basketball Invitational, and the team's chaplain sister Jean Schmidt believes that Loyola's berth in the tournament, among other things, has done a lot to increase fan support.
I think student involvement has increased so much this year, and I think it's mostly freshmen who are coming, and part of that is due to part of the program that we do at orientation.
Guard Devin Turk said he's definitely noticed the increased fan support.
It's improved every day from win to win, and it's exciting to shoot a shot and make it and hear the crowd do that, and it just pumps you up.
Loyola fans aren't the only ones enjoying the team's success this year. The Rambler cheer and dance teams have partnered with the Band of Wolves to create a fun atmosphere at games. One member of the band showed just how much enthusiasm they can bring.
I've been here for 4 years, and this is the best year yet. It's so fun. Whoa!
Students are echoing that message. Everything put together has made for a great time at the games and an even better season for the Ramblers.
When the fans come together, it's a great way for everybody to cheer on for a simple cause. Everybody knows some of the cheers and knows what to do, and everybody gets excited when we score, when we get a good defensive stop. It's a fun atmosphere.
Although Gentile Arena may empty out after games, Loyola students have come out in numbers to support the Ramblers in what has been the men's basketball team's best season in 30 years. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Nader Issa.
Wow, 30 years? The men's basketball team has really been having a great season, and we can't wait to watch them continue on in the CBI tournament. The Ramblers take on Louisiana Monroe Monday in Gentile Arena.
The men's volleyball team is also making strides, proving that the #1 spot is still in their sight. After sweeping Grand Canyon last week in the first 2 games, #2 Loyola followed up with another sweeping performance of the Lopes in Gentile Arena last Thursday night. The Ramblers won 3 games with scores of 25-23, 26-24, and 25-21. Thomas Jeske fired 12 kills that helped lead the Ramblers to victory, while Trevor Novotny added a career-high 11. Also, an honorable mention, Jeske was named MIVA Offensive Player of the Week this Tuesday after firing 24 total kills in the pair of games against Grand Canyon. Loyola's record improved to 16-1 this season and 8-1 in MIVA play. After a week off, the Ramblers will host IPFW tonight.
The Loyola track and field team is still going strong as they transition to the outdoor season. A majority of the team competed at the Bulldog Opener hosted by Butler University, while the throwing team traveled to compete in the Jean and Rose Edmonds Invitational. The track and field team won 10 titles total from the campaigns outdoors. Allison Zucconi dominated in throwing events, breaking school records. Her discus ranks her 5th in the nation, and her hammer throw ranks her 15th in the country. Zucconi also added a shot put win to add to her record. In field events, Lexi Ellis won the triple jump with a mark of 11.36 meters and was runner-up in a long jump with a mark of 5.1 meters. Brianna Walker won the 100-meter with a time of 12.17 seconds and went on to win the 4x400 meter relays with her teammates Jade Kinney, Rebecca Stearns, and Brady Rodney with a time of 3 minutes 54 seconds. The team also grabbed a few top 3 wins as well in distance events. Hannah Magnuson finished runner-up in the 800-meter with a time of 2 minutes 19 seconds. Audrey Michelson placed 3rd in the 1500-meter after clocking 4 minutes and 43 seconds, while Sydney Stunkel notched a 3rd-place finish with a time of 10 minutes 7 seconds in the 3000-meter. The men's side also enjoyed victories as well, as Jace Hayes won the 400 meters with a time of 49 seconds. Chandler Diffie enjoyed success, winning the 1500 meter with a personal best of 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Jake Mazanke placed 3rd with a time of 3 minutes 54 seconds. Hayes and Mazanke went on to the team with Peter Archibald and Sam Urban to win the 4x400 relays with a time of 3 minutes and 19 seconds. The Ramblers are back in action this weekend for the Raleigh Relays.
The Loyola men's golf team traveled to Williamsburg, Virginia this past week for the Middleburg Bank Intercollegiate. Loyola posted a team score of 317 and finished with a 3-day total of 954. Garrett Buckley carded his second 74 in the last 3 days and finished tied for 121st place on the individual leaderboard with a score of 235. Sophomore Michael Valetti had a 3-round score of 232, tying for 101st place, while freshman Kenny Lecco earned possession of 154th place with a score of 260. Junior Adam Decker finished with a score of 270 that rounded out the Rambler lineup to 156th place. Junior PJ Reiner carded a career low of 68, tallying a total score of 227, as he finished in the tie for 77th place, the top finish for a Rambler. The men's golf team will be back in action when they travel to Peoria, Illinois for the Bradley Spring Invitational.
What do sports and the opera have in common?
I'm not quite sure, but Alex Whitler will tell us in This Week in History.
This week in history, we celebrate Women's History Month by calling Martina Navratilova to the spotlight, or at least to the front light of the stage. On March 26, 1995, an opera based on the legendary tennis champion's life premiered. But it's her statistics, not just the opera song, that keep her story alive. Navratilova's career has spanned over 40 years, and today she is regarded as one of the best female tennis players of all time. She's won 59 Grand Slam titles and a record-breaking 9 Wimbledon singles championships. Her rivalry with another influential tennis player, Chris Evert, is considered one of the greatest in sports history, and Miss Navratilova had 43-47 advantage. Her passion and achievements inspired Dean X. Johnson to compose Song of Martina. This week marks the 20th anniversary of its premiere in New York's Carnegie Hall. If her stats and recognition through the arts weren't enough, former #1 world player Billie Jean King said that Martina Navratilova is, quote, the greatest singles, doubles, and mixed doubles player who's ever lived. In a day and age when media encourages women to support one another, that's quite a pat on the back. For This Week in History, I'm Alex Whitler.
I want someone to write an opera about my achievements.
You never know. Maybe someday someone will. The Loyola softball team hosted Northern Iowa Panthers in the opening home series this weekend. In the first of 2 games held on Saturday, Loyola fell to the Panthers with a score of 11-0. Hannah Jenkins was the sole Rambler to reach base thanks to a walk in the 3rd inning. In the second game of the day, Loyola fell again to the Panthers with a score of 2-1. Although the Ramblers recorded 6 hits to Northern Iowa's 3, it was in the 7th inning that the Panthers claimed their victory by scoring a run, tying the game 1-1. Despite a walk by Alyssa Minucci and a single by Jessica Balzano at the bottom of the 7th, the Ramblers were unable to score, giving the Panthers the victory. Madison Hope struck out 6 batters and Brooke Wyderski drove in her 16th run of the season. The series finale game that was set for Sunday was canceled due to near-freezing temperatures here in Chicago. Loyola is off to a 2-3 start in the Missouri Valley Conference and will host Bradley this weekend for a 3-series game.
Not only has Loyola men's basketball team advanced to postseason, but they have also made the championship series of the CBI tournament. Let's throw it again to Alex Whitler at the Ramble desk. Nader and Joaquin will discuss what the tournament means for the basketball program.
Hello, Ramblers, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Ramble. I'm your host, Alex Whitler, in for Milop Mehta, and this week we're talking about the CBI and if it's actually going to make an impact on Rambler athletics. So, in this corner, we've got Nader Issa, and in the other, we've got Joaquin Carrig.
Boxing match. Let's go.
So, let's go ahead. Let's hear it.
Do you want to start?
Go ahead.
All right. I think the CBI is actually going to have a pretty big impact on the Loyola's men's basketball program. The CBI has been around for 8 years, and teams like VCU, Oregon, Oregon State, they've all been in the CBI and won the CBI, and that's really vaulted their program to new heights. All of those teams have recently been in the NCAA tournament, March Madness, something that Loyola really wants to do. VCU even made it to the Final Four a few years ago. I think the CBI is a springboard for Loyola men's basketball.
Look, I mean, I agree that I think it's going to boost them. I just think maybe not as it's not going to advance as quickly as you might think. Oregon and VCU and Pittsburgh are more established. Were more established basketball programs when they were participating in the CBI. So Loyola is still in the process of growing their program. Porter Moser is, I think, just now starting to get a grasp on the team, and the team is starting to have an identity now. So I think that the CBI is a great start, but I think initially, and especially we're seeing even in the playoff in the games at Gentile Arena, we're still not seeing full the stands filled up. The student section can't even be fully filled up. So people are not excited quite yet for the Loyola program.
All right, so Nader, question for you. 8 years, that's really not a lot of time. I mean, it's still technically establishing itself. What do you say about that in response?
Well, yesterday, earlier this week, Loyola played Seattle in the semifinals of the CBI. And after the game, Seattle's coach, I thought he had a great analogy. He said that the CBI is really similar to bowl games in college football. Why is the CBI something that's not considered a good tournament for teams to play in if bowl games are the same exact thing in college football? Bowl games are used to give young players an opportunity to grow. They're used to give seniors an opportunity to extend their career by a game. I think the CBI is the same type of thing as a bowl game, and I really think it's something that can help teams grow, especially Loyola.
I do think it has an opportunity to grow the program, but also take a look at the conferences that Oregon and Pittsburgh play in. They have multiple at-large bids in those conferences, whereas Loyola, we already have powerhouses in Wichita State and Northern Iowa. It's going to be really hard to make it to the NCAA tournament without winning the conference tournament. And I don't know if Loyola is quite there yet as a program to immediately start talking about them making it to March Madness, especially with Northern Iowa and Wichita State being as good as they are right now.
Well, Joaquin, I noticed that before you mentioned that our student section, we're still working on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. We've got all these different things with the men's volleyball team, that's a pretty good example of how there is hope. What do you say to that?
True, winning does help, and we're starting to win more as a basketball program. This year we eclipsed 20 wins for the first time in a while, so that was a pretty big accomplishment. But I still think that there's this mentality on campus that we're not a good basketball program at all. And I think it's going to take more than one good season for fans to start showing up. Also, I think the athletic department, it's not just winning. Athletic department does need to make a little bit more of an effort to get the students' attention when it comes to supporting or promoting the basketball program.
All right. Well, now I'd like to give you guys an opportunity to ask each other a question for rebuttal. Let's hear it.
You mentioned earlier that teams in the MVC like Wichita State and Northern Iowa are already powerhouses. Illinois State almost they're 20 minutes away really from making the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
The MVC would have had 3 teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
But Wichita State and Northern Iowa haven't been powerhouses for that long. True. They all started somewhere and they had a transition period and then they grew into those powerhouses. Yeah. Do you think Loyola has an opportunity to use the CBI to become like Wichita State and Northern Iowa?
I don't know necessarily if it's the CBI itself. I think the CBI is a great thing to have on your resume when you're trying to build it. I think that also while Wichita State and Northern Iowa, they haven't been huge programs for a sustained period of time, they've gone through series of success, just as Loyola has. So I think that but it takes a while. So I think Loyola is now just starting to see that they're building their program. This program's going to be stronger. But I still don't think it's going to happen so fast, especially with Wichita State and Northern Iowa being good right now.
Yeah.
Whereas Loyola is still working towards being a consistently good basketball team.
All right. Well, I think I've made a decision.
Oh, wow.
I think you did a great job establishing, Loyola's still starting out. We're coming out there. But there's still some time and some things to work on, which is why I'm going to have to give it to Joaquin. He addresses the fact that things are they're getting there. They're getting there. So I'm sorry. Got to hand it over to Joaquin.
We'll get him next time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to send it back to you over at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Let's hope the Ramblers take the CBI tournament win, and maybe it will be a big, step forward in the basketball program.
Yeah, Blake, you're totally right.
In this week's viral video, we take it to a Wisconsin Badger press conference where player Nigel Hayes had an OMG moment. Let's check it out.
Nigel, we want to know, is there anything you'd like to say to our stenographers just to tip things off?
Syzygy.
All right.
Do you have it?
Check out her I will.
Okay. Gosh, she's beautiful. Did you hear that?
All right, so we'll open it up to questions.
How embarrassing. I wonder how the rest of the interview went.
I know, right? I can't even count the amount of times that I've embarrassed myself, so I definitely feel his pain.
That's all the time we have for this week's show. Be sure to follow Rambler Sports Locker on all of our social media handles below.
Until next time, I'm Blake Keller.
And I'm Sophia Davila.
Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to turn out the lights.